Alright, so this video will be a recap of the Warriors series versus the Denver Nuggets. They were able to defeat them in 5 games. And it will also be a preview of the next series versus the Memphis Grizzlies. At the time that Skip and Shannon recorded this, the Grizzlies were up 3-2 versus the Timberwolves. We know that the Grizzlies ended up winning Game 6 and that the Warriors play the Grizzlies tomorrow. So I'll be previewing that matchup as well. And before we get into it, I'll just say this. Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, the perfect matchup for them in the first round was Denver. I was telling all the homies, there's nobody better that the Warriors could have played than the Denver Nuggets. You could argue that Denver was the weakest team in the postseason just because of all the injuries and just because they were really a one-man team and they were the easiest team to kind of figure out because you only had to worry about Jokic. Maybe you could say the same about the Atlanta Hawks with Trae Young. But the Denver Nuggets were perfect for the Warriors because the Nuggets don't play good enough defense that they force the Warriors out of situations. They made it tough at times, but overall, the Warriors were able to bring that small ball lineup in and get into a flow and get into a rhythm and see what it's like to make shots and catch some momentum with each other, you know? And I think that was good for that group, particularly for Wiggins and for Jordan Poole to see the success that group can have together. So I think that was very big. And most importantly, you're not really going to play anybody down low who's more challenging than Nikola Jokic. You know, they might get Giannis in the finals or, you know, we know Embiid's out indefinitely now, but if Embiid came back and the Sixers just ended up in the finals, we know you play Giannis or Embiid maybe in the finals, but most likely there's a good chance, you know, I got the Celtics winning the East, so there's a good chance they don't play any big as dominant as Nikola Jokic is, and you're not really going to find many that are, so that small ball lineup and trying to figure out how to combat offensive rebounds and how to combat a big man down low and using Draymond at the 5 and bringing help and these things. Like Denver was the perfect like sparring partner or scrimmage for the Golden State Warriors because the Warriors had no fear that they were going to lose to the Denver Nuggets. They know they're going to win that series. Even when games are close, they feel like they can pull it out. Game 4 went totally against the Warriors in every way you can think of. And the Warriors almost won that game. So it's like the Warriors knew they had this series in the bag. This series was more so about getting in a groove, getting in a rhythm, seeing how we're going to guard the post, how we're going to protect the paint, how we're going to rebound as a collective. So Denver was the perfect matchup for Golden State. And Golden State being the 3 seed ended up kind of being a blessing in disguise. So I'm going to let them talk about it. Let's get into it.
Really well. Let's get there really small. And the Denver Nuggets out-rebounded them 50-37.
I'm glad you noticed.
Of the 16 teams in the playoffs, the Nuggets was number 11th in rebounding. The Grizzlies are going, if the Grizzlies make it, they will pound it. We know they can rebound.
Well, we know that the Grizzlies have made it, and we know the Grizzlies, as Skip is about to say, the Grizzlies are the best rebounding team in the league. Clark, Adams, JJ, everybody gets on the boards. Their guards get on the boards. Ja Morant can rebound. Dylan Brooks can rebound. Desmond Bane is a big body. Like the Grizzlies are a very good rebounding team. And the moral of the story is 2s versus 3s. Can the Warriors make up for the physicality and make up for the rebounds and the things inside by shooting the 3-point ball well enough to balance it out with the Grizzlies? We saw the Timberwolves. I said it in a previous video. The Timberwolves were going to give the Grizzlies some problems because even if the Grizzlies are executing at a higher level and the Grizzlies have better coaching, at the end of the day, the Timberwolves can make shots that the Grizzlies can't. So it's going to be hard for the Grizzlies to keep up with that. So we're going to see that in this series. You're going against the Warriors. And for the Grizzlies, it's kind of like playing against a team that you already played in the Timberwolves, but just way, way better. Just way better at executing.
They led the league in regular season rebounds.
So now
led the league.
You put Steven Adams back in the game.
You would.
So he can rebound. Jaren Jackson can rebound. Brandon Clark rebounds.
By the way, Steven Adams averaged 10 a game. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, Skip, you got 4 guys.
You do.
And the second chance points, the question is, the mistakes that the Grizzlies are getting away with Minnesota, Golden State will make you pay double.
Agreed.
And so for me, I think the Grizzlies are the team the Warriors would least like to see because of that size, because of that scrappiness.
I understand that argument, but I think the Warriors and Grizzlies, there's a little bit of like a OGs versus the young fellas beef that's going on between the Warriors and Grizzlies. We know Iguodala left the Grizzlies. He didn't want to really play for them. We know that the Grizzlies beat the Warriors in the play-in tournament last year. We know the Grizzlies have had success versus the Warriors in the regular season the past couple years. So there's a little bit brewing. Ja Morant arguably had the best season out of every point guard in the NBA in the regular season this year. Arguably, he was a starter for the Western Conference in the in the All-Star game. So, and we know Steph Curry had a little bit of a down year in the regular season as far as his standards are. It was a down year. So there's a little bit brewing between the Warriors and the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, they talk a lot of trash. We know Draymond's not backing down. We know Klay and Steph, they can talk a little shit. They appear as nice guys, but they can talk some shit, and they got some fieriness to them, and they're competitors, and they're winners and champions for a reason. So it's going to be a lot of back and forth. It's going to get a little chippy and physical like the Wolves and Grizzlies series did. It's going to be like that, you know? No love lost in this type of series. But I think Andrew Wiggins is going to be the key. He's going to be the X factor. You need Andrew Wiggins to be getting at least 7 rebounds a game. You need Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins needs to finish this series averaging about 7 rebounds a game. I really think he's going to need to, because you're going to have to play him heavy minutes. He's probably going to have to guard JJ a lot during this series. Other times he'll be on Kyle Anderson. But he's going to have to guard JJ a lot. If they go small and Draymond's guarding a Steven Adams or a Clark, you're going to have to put Wiggins on JJ and hope for the best. You know, JJ just shoots a lot of threes. He stays out there. But sometimes he gets into the post and he has a little bit of a touch. He has a little bit of a touch around the rim. So Wiggins just has to play great defense. He needs to size up, play bigger than he is, and he needs to get on the boards, which he did a great job of versus the Denver Nuggets. But he's going to have to continue, because Draymond spoke about it in his podcast. And if you play basketball, you know this, especially if you play down low guarding someone in the post or whatever. You might be able to stop a guy from scoring who's bigger than you, but it's hard to stop that guy and then turn around and then on the second jump, leap and grab the rebound also. Like, you can get the stop and you can try to limit the guy, but you need somebody else to come in. You can even box out, but you need somebody else to come in and just grab it, you know? So Draymond Green was doing a good job of guarding Jokic and boxing him out, but then Wiggins needs to run in there and snag it. Steph Curry is a good rebounding guard. Klay Thompson is a big guy. He needs to go in there and help. Jordan Poole he's like 5'6". He's not no small guy, so he needs to run up in there and get it too. So they're going to have to rebound by committee, but it's really going to be Andrew Wiggins getting you about 7, and Looney in his time on the court is going to have to get at least 5. Even if he's playing limited minutes, you need Looney to snag 5. You need Wiggins to snag 7. And you need the guards, particularly Steph, you need him to run up in there and get about 6.
If you make me pick, I'm going to say I would take the Warriors for the simple fact their core guys have been there and done that. Steve Kerr has been on the sidelines. Draymond, Steph, Klay, Looney, Skip, they've been there. You're talking about a whole different animal now. This is the...
Well, earlier in another video that I did in a playoff preview, it sounded like Shannon had the Grizzlies versus Suns in the Western Conference Finals. But after seeing the firepower of Jordan Poole, he's probably feeling like he wants to take that statement back and go with the Warriors now. And I don't blame him. When you get new information, you have to adjust. I needed to see how the Warriors looked with Jordan Poole, how it was all going to work out. But I told you guys before the playoffs started in that video, I'm not taking the Grizzlies over the Warriors. I just have to see it to believe it. Like, until the Grizzlies win 4 games against the Warriors, I am not taking the Grizzlies over the Warriors. I just won't. This series, as far as betting goes and against the spread, it's going to be a whole lot of Warriors or nothing for me. A lot of games I'm either taking the Warriors or I might not touch the side. You know what I mean? It's going to be very hard. I still have to analyze. I still have to do my studying and check everything from game to game, and, you know, follow the Twitter and the Instagram pages so that way you guys can get those. Sometimes I try to make videos with the free picks, but if I can't get to it, I always post it online. So I'm going to have to do my due diligence, but, you know, I can already tell it's going to be a lot of Warrior or nothing for me in this playoff series. You just can't go against what the Warriors have in their foundation. I just can't go against it for a Memphis team that, you know, the Timberwolves feel like they need another year, but Memphis feels like they need another year too. Just because you beat a team that needs another year doesn't mean you don't need another year to figure it out, you know?
And I know you went there and beat them in a play-in, but Skip, that's one game. That's one game now.
And it was Steph and Draymond, but no Klay. Go ahead.
No Klay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no Klay, and Jordan Poole wasn't nearly the player that he is now. He was nowhere close to the player that he is now. When you beat the Warriors in the play-in, you beat them in overtime, and they had Juan Anderson, JTA. They had him starting and playing heavy minutes. Like, you beat a Warriors team that was featuring Kent Bazemore a lot. You know, that was the Warrior team that you beat. You didn't beat a Warrior team that went this deep, that had Otto Porter on the bench, that had Gary Payton Jr. on the bench. You didn't beat a Warrior team like that. So I wouldn't even bring up that play-in tournament situation. I would only bring in the play-in tournament, like I said earlier, to say that there is some heat and there is a little bit of a rivalry that's kind of brewing between these two teams.
And this was a different animal. And guys are stepping up now. And the matchup, Skip, you might almost have to put I guess they would start Wiggins on Ja. But Gary Payton Jr., the third, the little mitten, Skip, it wasn't his defense last night. He made some shots. That 3-pointer right there late in the ball game
shocked me. Yep.
I'm like, let him shoot it. Just don't let Steph or Clay get. Damn, maybe y'all should have got him.
He made him.
Yeah, he's a gamer, and I love these guys. I love the Gary Payton Jr.'s, the Patrick Beverleys, the Jose Alvarados. I know people don't like Patrick Beverley, but I like Patrick Beverley. I always have. I like those guys. I'm trying to think who else. Alex Caruso, even though he's not really a pest the same way those other guys are, but he is a great defender and plays that same kind of role for his team. I love those type of guys. I love those guys who they take charges, they block shots, they get steals. They rotate well defensively. They're all over you playing, heavy pressure on the ball. On the offensive end, they have more game than people think. Jose Alvarado was hitting shots. He was getting to the mid-range. Like, Jose Alvarado was doing a lot with the ball. Patrick Beverley, as an off-guard, letting D'Lo and Edwards create. Patrick Beverley can do a little bit off the ball. You don't want him just primarily trying to create, but working off of them and getting the ball in the right spots at the right time and moving around, he can create. He can create a little bit. Patrick Beverley has some offensive game. And Patrick Beverley's always been a solid shooter. Even in his days with the Clippers, he could knock down shots. So I like those kind of guys. And Gary Payton's proved to be one of those guys too. When he shoots the corner three, I feel like I don't know if it's going to go in, but it always drops. Like, he shot very well from three this year. I want to say he shot 40%. But, they're all open looks and mostly from the corner. But all that matters is that he's making them. He puts a lot of pressure on the ball. And his stats versus the top players in this league this year, especially including Ja Morant, are very good. In the regular season, he fared very well in matchups when he was playing against the stars. He does a good job of sitting them down.
All four of his shots in the fourth quarter and made both threes. He did. And he's a 36% regular season three-point shooter.
So, Skip, look. I just knew the Nuggets. The Nuggets, you can't lose this game, Skip. Because when you look at it, yeah, I know they got outshot from the 3-point line, 13-6. But Skip, I mean, the free throws they had plus 5 in the free throws. They were plus 13 in rebounding, but the turnovers. Jokic gives you 30 and 19. I'm trying to figure out why he only played 32 minutes. Skip, in the game and a possible closeout. Skip,
he
tweaked his hamstring.
pulled his hamstring.
Okay,
and he was trying on the bike, and he was trying to get it loose. And to his credit, he came back and played in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he gave 12 points.
He played 7 minutes on.
Yeah, he was dealing with a hamstring, and also DeMarcus Cousins was balling out in that Game 5. So when Boogie's playing that well, and then you have Nikola Jokic dealing with a hamstring, you do got to sit him down. So I'm not mad at Coach Malone. Coach Malone pushed the right buttons in this series. He eventually moved Aaron Gordon and started featuring him more in the offense, put him in better spots. He moved Aaron Gordon onto Jordan Poole and Steph Curry playing defense on the ball. Like, he tried different things. He started playing different guys, started putting Austin Rivers in a little bit, trying to let him wreak havoc a little bit. So, Coach Malone is a very good coach. I'm not mad at him. I'm not going to question anything he did in this series. Like I said, the Denver Nuggets were the perfect sparring partner for the Warriors. They were just what the Warriors needed to get right, to get some confidence, to get a good feel for things, to swing the ball around, see some shots go in, but to also have to go against one of the most dominant players in the NBA and get used to guarding a presence inside like that. So Denver was exactly what the doctor ordered for Golden State.
On kind of one leg.
Yeah.
And scored 12 points.
Skip, it's not like he going fast anyway. I mean,
but he has some quickness in the lane. But
it's first step. But Skip, like I said, I think I would take Golden State. I'm gonna say Golden State in 7. But Golden State is a small team, and the Grizzlies rebound the basketball. That's concerning. But the mistakes that the Grizzlies are making and getting away with Minnesota, you're not going to get away with those same mistakes against Golden State.
Yeah, and because of that, I have to say Golden State in 6. I understand him saying Golden State in 7, but because of that, I have to say Golden State in 6 because the Grizzlies winning that series in 6, you can make a lot of arguments that the Grizzlies should have just lost that series. I mean, the Timberwolves blew Game 3, and I'm not mad that they blew it because I had the Grizzlies minus 6.5, but they blew Game 3. They were up so much at 2 different points in the game. They had 2 20-plus point leads that they blew, to the point that I wasn't even watching the game anymore because I just couldn't stand it. So they blew that Game 3. And, of course, they blew the Ja Morant. When Ja Morant got that layup in Game 5, they blew that because Edwards hit a tough shot, and then he just makes a rookie mistake. I know he's not a rookie, but he makes a playoff rookie mistake because he's a rookie in the playoffs. And he goes for that steal, and he committed to it when he really should have just played straight-up defense. He's been playing great defense on Ja. He played amazing against Ja in that playoff series. But that was a slip-up right there, and he should have known better. He should have been a little more disciplined. But, hey, that's one of those plays that's going to stick with Anthony Edwards forever. He's never going to forget about that, and it's only going to make him a better player in the long run. He really has the total package. He's a beast. Like, Anthony Edwards is someone to watch out for as far as one day potentially being the face of the NBA. The only thing that's stopping him is him. We know that, like he said he has other passions and other things, and sometimes it doesn't seem like he's just a basketball or nothing kind of guy, but when you hear Patrick Beverley in the interviews, he's saying, like, Edwards is a nerd. Like, he watches a lot of film. A nerd in a good way. Like, he's a basketball junkie nerd. Like, he's studying film. He's on top of it. So maybe that's just a narrative surrounding him, and we'll see. We'll see how he improves in his game. I think he has to improve as a decision maker. I think he needs to become more consistent, keep working on that jump shot, make it more and more butter, and, just those things. Just, simplifying the game a little bit. I think he's a young guy who's very flashy, and sometimes he gets caught up in the awe of it all and making big time plays. And when he simplifies the game a little bit more and just starts being more precise with his movements and just getting to his spots and taking care of business, I think it's going to bode very well for him. So Anthony Edwards is a dog. He's a beast. And the Timberwolves, like I said, not to get too sidetracked, the Timberwolves could have very well won that series. The Grizzlies were able to take it in 6. They were just a more poised team between 2 young teams. They were the more poised team at the end of the day. But the Warriors will make you pay for those mistakes. The Warriors are ready for you. And I don't know if they'll be ready Game 1 because the Warriors had a little bit more rest and because the Grizzlies are going to be amped up on their home floor. But I'm expecting the Warriors to take at least one of those first 2 games in Memphis. I'm expecting the Warriors to steal that home court advantage at some point.
By the way, quick point before I launch. My man DeMarcus Cousins. I love DeMarcus, and he's bounced all over this league.
Yeah, he played well last night.
I hope he's found some kind of home. But last night he's saying, I'll have what Yoke is having. Let me in this game against that death lineup that can be death to Golden State, right?
Yeah, Boogie was balling out, and Skip is right. I agree with Skip. Hopefully, Boogie has found a home in Denver as Jokic's backup, and that's a good spot for him. But if not, a team should take a chance on Boogie and sign him. I mean, just as a backup big, he can do a lot for you as a backup big as long as his head is screwed on straight. As long as you have guys in that locker room that he respects and will fall back and not be a distraction around,
They're just too small. So DeMarcus comes in and plays a grand total of 15 minutes and goes 8 of 12 for 19 points. He didn't rebound at a high rate, but he got 4. But he scored 19 points in 15 minutes. Right. It's because he's just too big and skilled for them.
But see, that's the part. But see, here's the thing. While Memphis is big, they don't have any bigs that's big and skilled. Jaren Jackson.
Ding, ding, ding. Exactly. They're going to kill him on the boards. They're going to get some layups inside and stuff like that. But it's not like they're going against Jokic again. It's not like they're going against Boogie again. Like, these aren't bigs that are going to be playmaking and creating. JJ just wants to shoot threes from the outside. If Wiggins can keep a hand up, then he's going to be able to kind of limit JJ. I mean, what are the Grizzlies going to do? Are they going to feed the ball to JJ versus Wiggins 7 times in the post in a game? If they feed the ball to JJ 7 times and he has his back to the basket against Wiggins, how many of those 7 times are going to lead to baskets? How many of those 7 times are going to lead to a double team where JJ kicks it out to a 3-point shooter that makes it? Or where JJ backs Wiggins down and just dunks on top of him? Or, when JJ takes a hook shot or something that goes in. Like, how many out of 7 times is it really going to work, I think Wiggins can fare pretty well. And even at times when JJ gets a good look off on Wiggins, is he going to convert it? Like, you just have to play him honest and see if he actually can.
things and foul. Skip, he can't stay on the floor because all he does is hatchet. He's a hatchet man, just be chopping people. And Steven Adams is not an offensive weapon.
No.
So Draymond is going to be undersized, but Draymond's smart. Hey, you show him that ball, he going to take it out your hand before you get it up.
Mm-hmm. I buy that. I give you all the above.
Yeah, Draymond Green, I don't know who the best defender is in the NBA. I know on ball, guarding point guards and shooting guards, Thibault is arguably the best defender in that situation. Of course, you got your Drew Holidays and your Mikal Bridges of the world who are great. When you talk about wing defenders guarding like the small forward, power forwards who can score on the perimeter and stuff, Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, Kawhi Leonard when he's locked in and asked to do that. Those are the guys who come to mind, off the top of my head. Now you can even say that Jason Tatum is in that category because of, when he's bought into the defensive end, he can do a lot defensively. Guys like that come to mind. And when you talk about centers protecting the rim and things of that sort, Rudy Gobert is, of course, going to be at the top of that list. Joel Embiid. There's a lot of guys who are good shot blockers around the rim as big men, guys who can rebound, get you 10 rebounds and shot block. There's a lot of those rim runners in the NBA right now. But and we know Bam Adebayo can switch everything, and he's a beast. He's like Draymond in a lot of ways. And off the ball, we know Kyle Lowry, Marcus Smart taking charges, LeBron with the chase down blocks, Giannis being all over the place, swarming the ball. There's a lot of guys who are good at different things defensively. And I don't know if Draymond's in the top 2 or 3 in any one category. He probably is when it comes to off-ball, but I don't know if he's in the top 2 or 3 guaranteed in any of those categories. But Draymond Green is the most valuable defensive player in the NBA, and he pretty much always has been and always will be during his time period in the NBA. I mean, during his prime, during this Warriors dynasty, he's kind of always been the most valuable defensive player in the NBA, whether he wins the award or not. When he's locked in and when they're making playoff runs, Draymond Green is the most valuable. Might not be the defensive player of the year, but the most valuable defensive piece. The attention and the all eyes and the gravity that Steph Curry pulls onto himself on the offensive end, Draymond has like the same impact on the defensive side of the ball. There's not a situation you can put Draymond in switching 1 through 5, guarding the screen, the pick and roll, the pick and pops, switches, anything. There's no situation you can put Draymond in where he's uncomfortable. He can do everything you ask him to do. He's like a chess piece that you can just move all across the board, You can move him back, you can move him forward. He can do anything. He takes charges, he can block enough shots, he can get steals, get into the passing lanes. He can front the post and make it difficult for the big man to get the ball. He can play behind the big man and he can contest it even if he's way shorter, make it difficult. He can switch on the screen. He does everything. Draymond is an interchangeable piece on the defensive end. He's a vocal guy. He's a loud guy. He's a leader. He's a communicator. So he keeps everybody else in line and he holds everybody else accountable. Rudy Gobert tried to hold Donovan Mitchell accountable this year and it didn't work because Donovan Mitchell just didn't respect it. But Draymond Green, he holds Steph Curry and all these other guys accountable defensively where they have to play defense. Draymond Green is not going to let Jordan Poole get away with not playing defense. Jordan Poole is going to have to play defense to play on the court. Or they'll take him out and put Gary Payton or Otto Porter in or something. Like, they're not going to let Jordan Poole get away with not playing defense. They're not going to let him. And even if the rest of the franchise does, Draymond's not going to let him. So Draymond is the most valuable defensive player. He's the ultimate anchor. Just the ultimate anchor.
I give you experience. But I picked Memphis before it started, and I'm sticking with Memphis. And I'm kind of like you are about your Milwaukee pick. Confidence scale 0 to 10. I'm about a 4 right now because I told you yesterday, so far I have not been encouraged. I've been slightly more discouraged.
Yeah, when you see how well the Warriors played against the Nuggets and you see how many times the Grizzlies struggled against the Timberwolves, how many heroics and really more than heroics, just choke jobs by the Timberwolves that the Memphis Grizzlies needed to win. I don't know how you feel confident. There's no way you could feel confident in Memphis versus Golden State right now. Like, one team's ascending and one team's descending. One team's going up, one team's going down. It's hard to just be confident in Memphis. You could like Memphis because of how they match up, but it's hard to think that, I just can't get it in my head that the Warriors aren't going to take advantage of the things that they have an edge in, and the Warriors are really going to let this slip away. Like, this this is a Warrior series. This is where Steph, Clay, Draymond, this is where they make their money. This is where they make their name, their fame. Like, this is the series for them where it's like, you guys are a dynasty. You guys are a big three, whether KD's there, Poole's there, whatever the case is. You guys are a big three, and nobody can fuck with y'all when y'all are a big three. Like, this is the series to put your foot down and say, hey, y'all gonna have to respect us. Like, we're older. We've been beaten up with injuries. All three of us came off of injuries this year. And, we didn't get a lot of playing time with each other. But this is a system. This is a dynasty. And we're going to get over the hump even against the youngest and most hungry team. So I have to bet on the Warriors in this spot.
By my Memphis Grizzlies in the 5 games so far against Minnesota, even though they're up 3-2 going to the game 6. But the point is, I haven't loved the way they've played because I haven't seen enough of regular season Memphis.
Right.
Remember, this team went 20-5 with no Ja.
Right.
And sometimes I've thought, is Ja gumming up the works here? Because he's a turnover machine.
Yes.
And he's...
Yeah, the Memphis Grizzlies went 20-5 without Ja because the Memphis Grizzlies are a system. The coach is a great coach. He comes from the Popovich tree, and he runs a similar style of basketball. It's a system. It's ball movement. It's everybody involved. They play team basketball. Everybody's getting touches. And when Ja Morant's there, he can kind of slow it down a little bit. Like, not slow it down because he's an explosive player, but slow it down as in slowing down the system. He can kind of get in the way of that, cause some turnovers, miss some shots. He can mess with the flow. He can slow down the flow and the rhythm that system creates. But of course, they're a better team with Ja Morant because Ja Morant can attack the basket and, he can get them big-time buckets and big-time plays when they need it most. As we saw in Game 5, as we saw throughout the series, like, Ja Morant might struggle, but in the fourth quarter, he might finally make a couple plays, So they need Ja Morant out there. Ja Morant is the guy. He is the man of the franchise, but I kind of like Ja Morant playing at the 2. I like when they put Tyus Jones in. Tyus Jones, he leads the NBA in assist-to-turnover ratio. He's a good floor general. He puts the ball in the right spots. And when they have Tyus Jones out there and he's getting everybody involved and he's moving it well and playing at the right pace, Ja Morant is able to just come off the ball and get it in attack or get it and shoot those kind of rainbow threes that he throws up. Like, it works better for the team. It bodes well for them when Ja Morant is a little more off the ball. And just in playoff intensity with the defense ratcheted up that much, I don't know if we want Ja on the ball that much, Let's get him off the ball a little bit and have a pure point guard set the table up.
Playing too much out of control until finally, down the stretch, Game 5, when it mattered the most, last 6 minutes, he scored 16 points of his 18 in the fourth quarter. He scored 16 in the last 6 minutes. We're going to discuss this in a few minutes. I finally said, aha, there he is. That's a superstar. If he is arriving before our very eyes as a superstar, Memphis can beat Golden State.
Oh, yeah.
Because Memphis is deep in young talent that can match the older talent here. But I'm going to say this again, and I know it wears people out, but I'm going to stand by it until you prove me wrong. This team, this new Golden State team, will go as far as who carries them, and that's Steph Curry.
And he was good down the stretch last night.
Well, he didn't make any threes in the fourth quarter. He shot one and missed it.
Yeah,
but he made shots, and he got to the free throw line and made 5 out of 6. He's been missing free throws.
You noticed that too?
Yeah, he's been missing lately. He's missed like 5.
Yep.
But
Well, he's been missing free throws, and Jordan Poole's been missing free throws. I said to the homies, Jordan Poole doesn't really get to the line a lot, so him shooting 93% from the free throw line during the regular season, I don't know if that's kind of an aberration, because if you're not getting to the free throw line that much and you just happen to make them that year when you were going to the line, like 93% or 92, whatever he was at, it's still very impressive, but during the playoffs, he's been missing more, and I think if Jordan Poole got to the line a lot, like if he was a guy who always got to the line, he would shoot more like Clay does from the free throw line. Like, he might be more of like an 87% free throw shooter, which is still incredible, but I just don't know if Jordan Poole is like the pure knockdown free throw shooter that Steph Curry has been during his career. Like, Jordan Poole just doesn't get to the line that much, so we don't see it. But now that we're seeing it in playoff scenarios and he's missing more, and it felt like, I watch almost every Warrior game, and it felt like in games where he actually does get fouled and goes to the line, like 5-6 free throw attempts in one game, that he would miss one. It was the games where he only would take like 2 free throws where he always made both of them. You know what I mean? But once he got up there in free throw attempts, he would always like miss one here and there, you know? Especially down the stretch of the season, he started missing more free throws. He was perfect at 100% for a long time in the season. Like, it took him forever to finally miss one, you know? So you will see how he does as a free throw shooter. Steph Curry missing free throws, I think it just got into his head a little bit. I don't think it's going to continue to be a problem. I wouldn't bank on Steph Curry missing free throws. We know that he's, the purest three-point and free throw shooter in NBA history. And more than that, it was kind of interesting hearing the comments that the Warriors were making. They were kind of joking and playing it off, but they did make comments where Jordan Poole at least sounded serious when he was talking about the rim being a little off in Denver, which is something the NBA has to watch out for. Like, all this weird shit, like Luka was shooting a shot. I seen a video in midway. He was complaining that the rim was tilted and shit like that. Like, y'all telling me y'all not checking the rims before the game? Like, that's just a little suspect. When there's this much money going on in sports gambling and, all these different factors, like, it's just kind of interesting that you guys aren't saying anything about it till late. Like, until midway through the game or until players notice and have to speak up. Like, no one's addressing rims that are a little off. Or nobody's addressing, like, now we saw the Suns got fined for taking too long to announce that Devin Booker was going to play in Game 6. And it's like, yo, like, the same thing happened with Jimmy Butler and Paul George. Like, these late scratches where guys are just out, it's bullshit. It's not fair and it's corrupt.
He had 11 points in the fourth quarter. Obviously, that will work. So what do we see from Steph? He broke the all-time record this year. Then he struggled from three by his standards because it's the first time in his career this year in a regular season he shot under 40%. He shot 38%. That ranked 59th in the NBA.
Right.
Well, that's not Steph, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the reason why Steph Curry had a down year from three this year was because he was taking so many. He was jacking them up, and he was jacking them up when he necessarily didn't have to. He kind of got away from the mid-range game and finishing at the rim, but he's been doing a better job of that as of late in the season. As of late in the regular season and in the playoffs, he's been doing a better job of that. And I think he knows what time it is. And when it matters most, Steph Curry's going to take the right shot. If it means pump faking and going in for a midi or going in for the floater, Steph Curry's going to take the right shot. But during the regular season, he got a little too trigger happy with the three-pointer. I think they were trying to get very analytical with him. They wanted him to take 23s a night. So, that's asking for a lot. Asking for a guy to take 23 pointers, let alone make them, but just get up 23s in a night, you're asking for a lot right there. That takes a lot just to put that up. So, Steph Curry, a little bit of a weird season for him in the regular season, especially with the record and stuff. He was pressing a lot before the record, and even after the record, he kind of got into a funk. It wasn't really like a relief for him. Like, people thought, like, oh, after he breaks the record, he'll be cool. Like, nah, like, after he broke the record, he was still kind of forcing it and just was a little off, you know what I mean? So I just think that was it was an anomaly, and it'll be okay. Like, Steph Curry is Steph Curry. He's gonna shoot the shit out the ball from three. He's gonna shoot the shit out the ball in the free throw line. And next season, I expect the percentages to be up at above 40%, at least 40%.
Okay, so what have I said before? He has too often come up even smaller than he is in postseason games, especially the biggest kind. Obviously, you can argue he should have been the MVP in the first breakthrough ring when LeBron lost, obviously.
Yeah, he should have been.
Kevin Love and then Kyrie. But Iggy was the MVP. And then KD was the MVP. And Steph has no MVPs.
Right.
And
KD rightfully won those MVPs when he was in Golden State. He should have been the Finals MVP those two times. By the time that Iguodala won the MVP, it should have went to Steph Curry.
I'll never get over the way Steph handed LeBron that ring that year, up 3-1, then lost, obviously, Draymond for one game, Game 5, back at Oracle, and Steph couldn't do it.
Right.
Yeah, Steph Curry handed over Game 7 to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but in Game 6, he was playing well, and they were just calling tic-tac fouls on him, not really trying to let him get into a rhythm. And in Game 5, we know that Draymond got suspended. The league gave Game 5 to the Cavaliers. So that was some of the weirdest shit we've ever seen in finals history with Draymond being suspended. So, tough spot. The Warriors were still supposed to get the job done. But, Game 5 and Game 6, they were set up very tough. And in Game 7, all the things that were going against them, the momentum that was going against them, they just fell a little short. And a big part of that blame goes to Steph Curry. But Skip isn't able to get over that. Skip just holds that over Steph Curry's head because he's mad that LeBron got that ring in Cleveland because that's LeBron's most important ring. His ring in the bubble, you make arguments to go against it. His rings in Miami, you can make arguments to go against it. But his ring with Cleveland, you can't really make. Of course, you can make the Draymond argument, and I've made that argument where I think that the league kind of gave that to LeBron. But it is his most impressive. It is his most impressive win. It's his most impressive feat that he came back from 3-1. That is kind of like LeBron's stamp or his ultimate badge that he wears on his resume. As a best player, if you're the best player in the league, why are you down 3-1? That's a whole nother conversation. But coming back from 3-1, that's kind of like the chip that he wears on his shoulder. That's his badge of honor. So Skip Bayless is always going to be ticked off. He's always going to look at Steph Curry as the guy who let LeBron get that off.
And Steph had 2 of the last 3 at home, and all you need is 1, and he couldn't do it. In games 5 through 7, the 2016 finals, Steph shot 37% from the floor. That's just pathetic. He shot only 36% from the three-point line, which is by his standards pathetic. He had 7 assists to 12 turnovers in games 5, 6, and 7. Well, it's obviously horrendous. And then in the fourth quarters of those 3 games, money's on the table.
Right.
He shot 6 of 20 and 3 of 12 from the three-point line, and he got to the free throw line 0 times in 3 fourth quarters. And then let's look at Game 7. This is it. Money's pushed right to the center of the table against LeBron and Kyrie. It's you. It's your house. You got to pull this off. And he shoots 6 of 19, 4 of 14 from 3, and he managed to get the free throw line 1 time, and he made it. 1 of 1 free throws. He was a -3 for the game. And in the fourth quarter, he was just horrendous. And
look, like I said, Game 5 and Game 6, the league pretty much gave that shit to Cleveland. In Game 7, Steph Curry battling an injury, Iguodala battling an injury, Harrison Barnes going completely ghost, Andrew Bogut, their starting center, not even playing in the game. All the momentum's already with Cleveland from winning the last 2 games. It was a very, very tough spot, but no excuses. Steph Curry should have been able to pull out that very last one at home in Game 7. And dominate them the way that they were dominating them when they had Draymond the first 4 games. But, hey, nonetheless, Steph Curry should have came up bigger, but there were factors to that, dude. There were factors to that. And besides that, Steph Curry has been pretty clutch in the postseason. So I don't think it's fair for Skip to keep harping on him like this.
1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. Well, you're going to lose.
Right.
He's your best player, and then I'm going to pile on even more. Against Toronto, games 3 through 6, when, remember, they got closed out in 6 by Kawhi and company, he shot 42% from the floor, but only 33% from 3. He was 16 of 48 from 3 in those 3 games, and he missed a game winner at the buzzer of Game 6 at Oracle, at home. So, again, come up small, and smaller. Well, this is his time, because what have we just seen? Obviously, LeBron is Lagon, and obviously KD is Kadun.
Yeah.
And they're somewhere, I hope.
Lagon and Kadun. The KD one is hella funny because I've never heard that shit. Kadun. What? That's hella funny.
They're together somewhere on some island, but LeBron's in the Maldives. Maybe Kevin joined him. I don't know. Who knows? But the point is, all of a sudden, the skies have cleared, and who's the biggest star left? It's Steph, by far. And again, he's a 30-something star. Well, he's the one made man here, so.
Yeah, this is Steph Curry's time. Steph Curry got to get this, man. Like, I'm kind of rooting for them, too. I think I could see Boston Warriors in the finals. I said Suns Celtics. That was my prediction before the playoffs started. And I'll stick with that prediction just because it looks like Booker was moving okay in Game 6 versus the Pelicans. And if Booker's at his top, if he's ready to go, Suns versus Warriors is going to go 7 games. Suns versus Mavs might go 7 games, but Suns versus Warriors will go 7 games. And, I'll stick with my prediction just to stick with my prediction of Suns Celtics. But, I could very well see a Warriors Celtics finals, and the Warriors got to get it done. If the Warriors see the Suns and the Warriors see the Celtics, this is your chance to get it done. No KD to worry about. No LeBron to worry about. Steph, bro, you got the most cachet out of all these guys. You got more cachet than Chris Paul. You got to go out there and get it done.
Oh, let's see. Can he take over the playoffs from here?
He has the most to gain by winning.
I'd say.
Because he gets Finals MVP.
Mm-hmm. That would do it. That would cap it, right?
Yeah.
He would shoot up the all-time list.
Absolutely.
Because right now it's hard for me to push him up.
We would not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think if he gets the Finals MVP, Skip, I got him the second best point guard behind Magic. Now I don't see how. I mean, he got to do a lot more to pass Magic.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, he's going to have to do a lot more to pass Magic. He's probably never going to pass Magic. But as far as second greatest point guard of all time, he probably already is the second greatest point guard of all time. Isaiah Thomas, Detroit. You can make an argument for Zeke or Steph Curry. That's a tight one. But Steph Curry, second at worst, third greatest point guard of all time. He's already right there.
Okay.
But he has a lot to gain. He can gain an awful lot. Skip, it's going to be if he gets if he gets a title and he gets the Finals MVP. I don't know how you keep him out the top 10.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, he's going to have arguments to make for him being in the top 10. Definitely top 15. People already have him top 15, and some people might even have them in their top 10. I can't go that far right now, but if Steph Curry gets a Finals MVP, that would make it what? He has 3 championships, so that'd make it 4 championships, a Finals MVP. 4 championships, a Finals MVP, scoring title, multiple scoring titles. That's tough. Two MVPs in the regular season, a unanimous MVP. One of them was unanimous. That's very tough, And going neck and neck with guys like LeBron and Kevin Durant and Kawhi, the best guys in the generation, and arguably being above them at different points during the past decade, So Steph Curry is definitely making a compelling case if he can win this year. If he can win this year and then next year, like let's say if the Warriors were able to two-peat, and I know I'm getting kind of carried away, but if the Warriors were able to win this year and next year, and Steph Curry then had 5 rings, and he was Finals MVP in both of them, so he had 5 rings with 2 Finals MVPs, that would give him the same record as Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant has 5 rings with 2 Finals MVPs. So that puts Steph and Kobe right there with each other neck and neck. And Steph Curry was the best player on 3 of those teams, where Kobe was only the best player on 2 of those teams. So now it gets really interesting, and we know Steph Curry has more influence on the game of basketball than Kobe does because of his style of play. Kobe plays like Jordan, where Steph Curry made his own, he made that playing style pretty much. He coined it, So it's a very compelling argument for Steph Curry if he's able to win 2 more. But if he wins 1 more, he's definitely helping his case a whole lot, and this is the perfect opportunity for him to do so. And next year is going to be hard because I don't know if they'll be able to keep Wiggins because they're going to have to pay Jordan Poole.
I don't know how.
He'd be knocking right on the top 10 door.
You got 2 back-to-back MVPs, 4 titles, Finals MVP.
Yeah, and you're widely proclaimed the greatest shooter
yes,
ever. Nobody disagrees with that.
I don't know how you would keep him out of the top 10
okay.
at that point.
I got it. This is your time to shine. And you have your squad is back in sync. Clay looks, I don't know if he's quite Clay.
Right. He's not the defensive Clay.
He's not.
He's not the defensive Clay. His lateral speed isn't there like it used to be. They rely more on Wiggins and Draymond and Gary Payton to play defense. They actually rely on Steph Curry to play some defense, and Steph Curry does play good D, underrated defender. But Klay Thompson is there as far as shooting. The hot shooting and being able to get hot and light you up, torch you up, catch and shooting, 2 dribbles, pump fake, 2 dribble pull-ups. Klay Thompson is back on the offensive end.
Yeah, he can still. The thing is, Skip, when he gets hot, like he did the other day, when he had 37.
Yeah.
He can still shoot you out the building. He didn't get it going last night. He had 15, really quiet, 1 for 4 from the 3-point line. But Skip, I don't know if you noticed this, but you see Steph Curry is driving the ball a lot more. He's finishing at the rim a lot more.
Yeah,
He's just not settling anymore. Sidestepping the guys and still getting the 3. He's like, okay.
I don't think he's quite as supremely confident from 3 as he used to be,
right.
And he's realizing, well, there are other ways to do this, to pull this off.
I don't think that he lost confidence. I don't think you shoot like fucking Stephen Curry who can make 100 threes in a row and you lose confidence in your 3 ball. Just because you shot 38% this season from 3. I doubt that that's what Steph Curry is thinking in the slightest, Skip. I think what it is he knows that the money's on the table right now, and it's pushed to the middle of the table right now, He knows there's other ways you can win. You can win with the mid-range. You can win with the floater. So why should I jack up these threes when it's game time? Like this game, these games mean the most. These are must-win games. These are playoff games. So I'm going to take the best shot. I don't care if it's my trademark three-pointer or if it's taking it to the cup. I'm just going to do what the team needs.
When he put him to sleep, he laid that ball up.
Yep.
He got by the double team.
I agree. No, he can. And he can back cut on anybody. Draymond hit him with a sweet back cut pass.
Steph Curry is strong as hell. Like, Steph Curry puts up big numbers in the weight room. That's always been reported. Steph Curry is strong as hell. You know, he's a hard worker. He has a real good handle. He doesn't really have the handle to, take you to the cup and do different things, but he's very smooth. He has a good handle. He can get to spots. He can get around you and do the little floaters and the lays. Like, Steph Curry has always been known as one of the better under-the-rim finishers in the NBA. He's not a Kyrie Irving finishing under the rim, but Steph Curry is very crafty underneath the rim. He can finish with the best of them down there. So Steph Curry is not just like a shooter. My point is Steph Curry is not just a shooter. He's a strong guy who can finish at the rim, and he has everything in his arsenal. We saw Steph Curry do like a post-up fadeaway. I want to say it was against Campazzo or somebody in this first-round series against the Nuggets. Like, Steph Curry can do it all.
Last night for just an easy, uncontested layup. Yeah, well, he can't.
He can dunk. Get the man 6'3" jump, but he can't dunk.
I don't know. So now he's got a co-star emerging named Jordan Poole.
Right.
And now you pointed out Gary Payton II and Kuminga looks like he's got some star quality to him, even though he's fallen out of the rotation once the playoffs start.
Kuminga's a beast. Kuminga's a matchup nightmare because of his physicality and his size and everything that he presents. He moves so well, but Kuminga doesn't know what he's doing on the court yet. He's still learning the game of basketball. He's still all over the place. So once he gets a hang of it, once he gets more reps in during the regular season next year, he'll be a real good player. But he's still figuring it all out right now. He's not someone who you can play heavy minutes in the playoffs because he's going to cost you by not rotating to the right guy or not making the right decision.
So they've got some depth. They got Kevon Looney if they need some firepower against Steven Adams, if they want to go that direction. I got it all, but I'm sticking with my Memphis Grizzlies. I'm sticking with them to win this in 6 games. And again, the problem is Memphis has got to get past Minnesota. So I'm being premature. I'm probably jinxing my team. But if it comes to this, I still got Memphis over Golden State.
Yeah.
Well, Memphis got past Minnesota, but Skip has no conviction in saying this. He's only saying Memphis because that was his pick before the playoffs started, and he didn't expect Jordan Poole to be going off like this and for Steph to be coming off the injury looking this good. The Warriors had a lot of factors that needed to be figured out before you could really be confident in the Warriors. But even when the Warriors were a mess and they were still figuring things out before the playoffs started, I still like the Warriors over the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm not going to be able to trust the Memphis Grizzlies until I see them do it. Just like I needed to see them, I picked them over the Wolves, but I needed to see them do it. It wasn't something that I was super confident in, Especially after Game 1, when they just blew it, I was like, okay, this is a young team who they're figuring it out on the fly too. They were professionals during the regular season. They competed hard, but in the playoffs, they're figuring it out on the fly. Playoffs are a little bit different, so we'll see how it goes. Warriors, like I said, against the Nuggets. The Nuggets were the perfect sparring partner. The Nuggets were the perfect scrimmage for the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors were able to take them out in 5. Should have been a sweep, but they were able to take them out in 5, and now they'll play the Memphis Grizzlies in the second round. Game 1 is tomorrow, Sunday, and I still don't know who I like in that Game 1. I wouldn't be surprised if the Wolves were able to take that, if the Grizzlies were able to take that, but I think the Warriors should win at least 1 game in Memphis. I think they split these first 2 in Memphis, and I like the Warriors in 6. So thanks for watching. Peace.